Hello and welcome back to my series of videos that examine various murders and other violent crimes on the Thai island of Koh Tao, also known as Death Island. In this video, I plan to do something new, which is to briefly ask why foreign tourists, especially the British, continue to visit Koh Tao and die there. There are two reasons I've decided to ask the question now. Firstly, it is an appropriate time to do so because since 2014, 7 tourists have died on Koh Tao in the 2-month periods from mid-December to mid-February. 3 of those 7 were British, and here they are here. First one was Nick Pearson. Then there was a Norwegian girl, Silje Matheson. Dimitri Povsy was a French national. Christina Annesley was British, although she originally came from New Zealand. Luke Miller died on the 8th of January 2016. Valentina Novozanova from Russia vanished on the 15th of February, has never been recovered. And Shelley Bott, a Canadian who died as a result of being struck by a careless boat driver. It seems to many observers that large numbers of tourists are blissfully ignorant of the dangers on Koh Tao. Now, here are a couple of cartoons from the cartoonist Steph, which really highlight, just in picture form, what many tourists are like. This is an image in the background of Koh Nang Yuan, which is a tiny island just a few hundred meters from Koh Tao itself. And this is the Grim Reaper, also the Koh Tao bookmaker, showing the various odds of different nationalities and their chances of dying on Koh Tao. And as you can see, the British are well and truly overrepresented. Now, Luke Miller from the Isle of Wight was apparently murdered there on the 8th of January 2016. And one of his travelling companions, Nicola Gissing, pictured with him right here, complained on social media that they were unaware of the dangers of Koh Tao. And the documentary Murder in Paradise, which I will have a link for below, also highlighted that it was easy to find English girls on Koh Tao who are unaware of the island's reputation, although they had heard of murders in Thailand. This is a statement that Nicola Gissing made on the 9th of February 2016. She says, "I wish I had known about all this before we visited Koh Tao. I have a feeling Luke would still be with us. I feel so sad for those poor boys." These are 2 scapegoats who were convicted on false evidence for the murders of 2 British backpackers. And I really hope that the lawmakers see what a mockery people think of their justice system. Disgraceful. So this is Nicola Gissing, British national, talking about not having been warned beforehand. Now, the second reason I'm making this video is that earlier today I had an interesting exchange of tweets with a young lady by the name of Beth Jennings from Brighton in the south of England after noticing a tweet of hers on Twitter in which she was publicly promoting Koh Tao as bloody brilliant. And this is her Twitter timeline right here. You can see she's from Brighton in England. She has a pinned tweet here, which I'll be getting back to later, which refers to her having been tricked into raising lion cubs for hunters to kill in South Africa. And here's a tweet which is still up. It says, "Koh Tao was bloody brilliant, leaving as a certified diver ready for Koh Lanta, etc." And we can go through a timeline. This appears to be Koh Tao again. And you can see from her comments that she was probably top of her class in English expression. But I'm now just going to draw your attention to a couple of things that she promotes, which is she has this website Claws Out, in which she warns about the practice of going off to volunteer in South Africa in one of these parks. She does some really good work, by the way. These are some fairly awful scenes of caged lions being killed by trophy hunters. I'll have links to all of this below, by the way. So she makes it clear that she'd been duped into actually paying money to go to one of these farms to help raise cubs. These are lions after they've been shot, suffering terribly before they die. And I'll have links to all of this below, and that video is also on YouTube. And there she is there, and it says about me. And she says, my passion for big cats led me to book the trip of a lifetime. 2 weeks volunteering with lion cubs in the South African Ukatula Lion Park and Lodge. Unaware of the atrocities that occur every day at supposed conservation parks, I arrived at the destination where I was faced with the harsh reality regarding the appalling, unethical treatment of lions throughout the country. Within a day, it became obvious that what I was witnessing was nothing short of barbaric, and when questioning the actions of the staff at the reserve, I was dismissed. And it goes on, I learnt that lion cubs raised by volunteers will end up in canned hunts. Returning to the UK, I knew I couldn't sit back and do nothing, so I started an online blog, Claws Out. The aim of the Claws Out was to educate volunteers. I'm going to get back to that term, educate volunteers for the protection of future cubs and to try to bring an end to such an awful industry. And I take my hat off to her there. And here is an article that she wrote and was published. It says, I was tricked into raising lion cubs for hunters to kill. In February 2015, I left the UK for what I thought would be the adventure of a lifetime. 2 weeks volunteering with lion cubs in South Africa. I was led to believe my trip would benefit lion conservation in Africa and that the cats I worked with would eventually be released into reserves. However, I soon discovered I was just one of hundreds of volunteers being duped into spending thousands of dollars on a complete lie. I booked my trip through a UK agency aimed at young adults looking to work abroad with animals or to, quote, find themselves, unquote, in Thailand. I was immediately drawn to a trip called Live with Lion Cubs. And the story goes on. I will have links to all of these various sites, which I will put below. But it's a fairly short but very well written article from her, and I take my hat off to her. It's not very long, as you can see. Now, I mentioned that I had an interesting exchange of tweets with her. There are some tweets here which she has since taken down, but I did warn her, well, I didn't say warn her, I did point out to her, excellent article, Beth, but now you're promoting Koh Tao, also known as Death Island, to naive, unsuspecting young tourists. So I'm pointing out the irony that she's already admitted she was naive in volunteering to go to help raise lion cubs. But now she was promoting Death Island, where many tourists have perished. Her response to me very quickly was, "Oh, piss off and stop trying to scaremonger young people." Now, you'll recall that previously she'd said that she was trying to, quote, educate volunteers. So language is important and words are important. I'm simply trying to warn people, of course. I'm not trying to scaremonger people. I'm just trying to bring dangers to people's attention. Anyway, her tweet continues, "Had a brilliant week and didn't encounter a single local that wasn't friendly, welcoming and kind. All hail Koh Tao." Now, I can tell you that I have a grandfather. He's passed away now, but I had a grandfather who survived both the First and Second World Wars, but I don't think that his survival is any indication that war service is safe. And I don't think that one anecdotal little visit from Beth to Koh Tao indicates that Koh Tao is a safe place. Now, Beth went on and said, "Everyone, if you ever get the chance, go to Koh Tao. I cannot recommend it enough. People get murdered literally every day and everywhere in the world." Now, to her credit, Beth has actually taken down those tweets, which she made very promptly. However, she has kept up this tweet here. Koh Tao was bloody brilliant. So she's very much concerned with looking after lion cubs and wildlife, which I commend her for, but human beings don't seem to rate quite as highly. Now, it's obvious that Beth made a mistake in visiting the lion farm. And she acknowledges that that was a mistake, and she's actively involved in trying to undermine that industry now. I take my hat off to her for pursuing a truly noble cause and encourage you to visit to view her various blogs and YouTube videos. And to Beth's credit, as I said, she did delete some of the abrasive tweets she sent to me. But she has kept one of her tweets up on Twitter promoting Koh Tao. Now, in contrast, there are many Koh Tao bloggers and vloggers who do remain highly opinionated but ignorant as they promote Koh Tao and attack anyone who points out that many unsolved murders and rapes have been committed there. And I would suggest that perhaps too many people promote Koh Tao without thinking of the consequences for people who see their blogs, vlogs and tweets. Well, thank you very much for watching till the very end. If you found this at all interesting, please press like and tweet it with your, share it with your friends on social media. Thanks very much again, and please stay safe.